Look, I need you watching our backs. You're a better shot than I am.
Huh, really?
No?
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Gears of War 4 Insane Difficulty video walkthrough. This is Act 4, Chapter 3, Knock Knock. This video is dedicated to the memory of Dutch Schaefer. He, of course, is the manliest of men. He doesn't need words at the end in the chopper there. He's seen too much at that point. And he's still alive. And we're still alive, and we're still getting through this, fighting off this alien threat. And we get the overkills again, which is awesome. I really like the overkill. So, the checkpoint here fucking sucks a big fat bowl of dicks. And I wish it didn't. I wish I was telling you a different story, but it's true. Because if you die on the next fight, you have to do all this weapon maintenance again. And that really bugs me, because if there's a fight, checkpoint at the fight, you should be alleviating all the bullshit to get me back in the fight. That's what checkpoints are. That's what they were designed to do. Keep the player in the action. Give the player a chance. Not make the player wish that the AI wouldn't fucking run away. That's not what they should do. But that's inevitably what happens because of variables. But here is a Scion. There's a couple of nests at the beginning, so if you see all the nests really quick, you'll have a much quicker fight here. That is a dripping testicle on the ceiling, so try not to stare at it. Shoot him as much as you can, but do not take any liberties with that gun. This guy can kill you faster than almost anything in the game, and I don't know if it's because he headshots you, I don't know if he's good at active reloads, but whatever the case is, he melted me in the time it took me to blink. I didn't even have a chance to stop firing, I didn't react fast enough, and I'm not that old yet, so, you know, those things are dangerous at that range with mulchers. But they open up these two craters for us, and there's going to be something in here, so hopefully it's something good. Was there nothing in there? What the fuck is that? I get robbed. There should be something. A grenade, a torque bow, something along those lines. But in the previous video I was talking about Act 4 of Gears. And it's the first game that jumps out to me again because I love that game so goddamn much. What was Act 4 in Gears 2? Was it Jacinto? Like, I can't even remember the end of Gears 2. I know didn't you go into the Nexus and like fly the chopper? I think it was Jacinto. You did Jacinto, and then you were doing that terrible boss. You were going on the Brumac, weren't you? Going into the Hive or whatever. But I think Act 4 was Jacinto, which is a good example of what I said, because if it is, and it might not be, because my memory's not so great on that game, but I think that it was that level, and that was a great level. That was the level they showed at E3 and really displayed that game, and it looked so beautiful. And they did that beginning bit where they're walking out there, him and Dom, and then you see the vista of just Jacinto falling, and it was really striking. This is an elite, by the way, as well, guys. This is the biggest upgrade that these soldiers will get. These dudes are unbeatable in chainsaw fights for me. I have tried my best, I can't win. And I tap pretty fast, you know. It's not like I tap slow or my reflexes aren't good. Both are fine. I've never had a problem in any other game. Like, I've passed the torture chamber in Metal Gear Solid on the difficulty below extreme, which is not the hardest to tap because I can't do extreme. I'm not good enough. I don't have the stamina. But I was okay. And then on extreme, on Metal Gear Solid 2, I meant to say, not Metal Gear Solid 1. I hope you understood what I meant. On Metal Gear Solid 2, I drummed it. So instead of tapping with one hand, I got my drumsticks and I just did a drum roll. And I did a drum roll for the full thing. And if I'm able to do a quite consistently fast drum roll with my hands, you can imagine my ability to tap is of a decent nature. I'm not the best, I'm not the worst. I'm kind of, I would say, I'm in maybe the top 10% of speed tappers just by my dexterity and the amount of international track and field I played. That 10% is a wide margin of people that are ridiculous machines, and then me at kind of the bottom edge of it. But I'm still faster than, I would say, 90% of people who try to tap buttons. Just out of sheer, I've been playing games a long time and I like being good at things. Yet I can't beat that fucking chainsaw fight. So my strategy for you folks is all indicative of whether or not you're good at tapping buttons. If you're confident and you try a chainsaw against one of these dudes and you win, awesome. Do it as a last resort. If you don't, because it's just not worth it. You lose every time if you're me. And I've only lost twice, so I could try more, and I think I'm gonna try, actually. I might stream me trying that. We'll do like a push it to the limit and play some montage music, and I'll train my finger and shit, and, you know, we'll get it done. But it's ridiculous. Speaking of ridiculous, this fight is ridiculous at the moment. I'm getting rushed by people. I'm alive somehow. I'm showing you some of the old school Gears 1 snub days. We're getting the job done. There's a lot of shotguns here. There's a lot of Nashers that you could be picking up. But isn't it funny that I'm more comfortable with a snub on the campaign than I am with the shotgun? Because the shotgun just doesn't have consistency here. And a lot of people are like, oh, the Nasher doesn't have consistency in multiplayer. And it kind of doesn't, but it's way more consistent than it is on Insane, because they just take it because they have way more life than you do in the multiplayer. So it's one of those things. But it's also kind of blue, isn't it, here? It's kind of gloomy in the lighting, so it makes it quite difficult to see. But just keep picking your shots, spraying, putting as much damage on the people as you can. Luckily there is no regeneration mutator on to make the game more difficult. I don't think this game has mutators, which once again, it's another feature that they removed that doesn't make sense to me. Gears of War 3 was such a perfect package. This to me seems like a bite-sized teaser meal, it really does. And it's sad to say that because 4 should be better than 3. You know, unless we're talking Police Academy, which of course, you know, that's not how that worked, but a sequel should improve in games, I feel. Because there's more money, there's more technology, there's more knowledge. It's not like making movies where it's 100% artistic. It's a lot of it is wow! Did he just do that? How did she do that? Interesting. I think that Locust pulled her over the cover, but must have been getting hit by Dell or something, so he couldn't finish the animation, so it looked like she reversed him. That was cool. I wish you could do that. And there is something that comes up on the screen, you know, when the Locust got to jump and mantle over the walls. It looks like it says press B, but I've never done it quick enough because I've never seen it before. I've seen it like twice. I'm going to have to test to see what you do if you can counter that, because that'll be really useful in multiplayer. Baiting somebody to jump just so you can counter it. I wonder if you can do that in the lag. Because I've been checking GameFAQs, and GameFAQs is alive with people mentioning that the connection is bad on the multiplayer. But this was all pre-release, so I'm hoping that once everybody gets on it, the servers will settle a little bit and they'll understand the workload. But this is me having a little bit of experimentation with the buzzkill. I'm not there yet. I do like bouncing things off walls though, so I will definitely practice with this weapon. But unfortunately, it's just they don't stay out of cover long enough to really do much with it. So I experiment a little bit, but I don't really do much damage. But take this moment to walk around, guys, replenish your ammunition, get ready for the next excursion, because it's going to come quick, it's going to come fast, and there's a couple of tough fights coming up, but for the most, I think you're going to be good now, guys. There's the boss, which everybody's going to have issues with because it's just badly designed, but for the most, there's a couple of tough fights, but everything else, you're going to be fine. I have full faith in your ability to do this. That's a weird thing too. Do you notice how I use the detective mode every so often to kind of look to see if I can find stuff in the environment? Why didn't it make the weapons glow? Why didn't it give us an idea of where the ammunition was? It seems like it's designed to do that, to assess the environment for resource and things, show us where the weapons are so we don't miss any cool torque bows and grenades and shit just because everything kind of looks the same in Serra. This whole destroyed beauty just kind of blurs the eyeball as we find another collectible. You will not find all the collectibles following this guide, guys, so don't bother. I don't do those kind of walkthroughs, they irritate me. Never been a fan of collectibles. Like, a collectible to me should be findable without, you know, needing to follow a video series or follow a bunch of screenshots, but it gets to the point where some of them are so obscure that it's like, how the fuck would you ever think to do that? Shoot this wall that you would never shoot, throw a grenade into the window and it blasts open a door that wouldn't open. Like, great! And you know, that stuff is cool, but it's not cool when all you want to do is find that piece of information that would have explained why the boss has dreadlocks, or insert piece of, you know, contrived narrative that they hid in the wonderful hidden messages, which, if you're hiding your story in collectibles, you're making me a sad panda. Like, it works for things like the Souls series because it's all about building the mood and the tone of the world and then letting the player extrapolate. But in Gears of War, I don't want people doing lore videos. I don't really need to hear about Allfather, Carmine, the first man to lose his head to the premature long shot of the olden days of Pendulum era. Like, I don't need that. I really don't. You know, I play Gears for a different reason, I guess. And I really liked the story in the first game, so the narrative of that, in spite of the fact it was just a bro down, I did enjoy it. As I try to mantle over this wall and it doesn't let me do it. This room is important too, because you're about to take on a carrier, and the carrier is quite interesting. He has two main attacks, and then a third attack that he'll do when you're close to him. And you don't want to be close to this boss because it's dangerous, but at the same time you want to be able to run past him, so understand how to do that is important. His main attack is a Harambe ground smash, so watch out for that. And then at a distance he will either open his chest, which is his weak point, and he'll fire a very accurate incendiary shot at you, which you have to roll to the side to dodge, or he will open his chest for longer and he will grow a bunch of blooms that are like nemesis that will lock on and come towards you and do incredible damage and hit you in cover. So you need to put a roof above you while they will hit you every time. And the boss is vulnerable to any kind of damage on any body part, but he is way more inclined to die if you hit him in his weak part, which is his soft gooey centre. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bait this particular wave of attacks where he does the aerial barrage, and I'm going to boom shot him on the tips. I'm then going to proceed to shoot every bullet that I have at him and just showcase how tough these creatures are because they take it. And this is the one where he shoots the really fast blast, so if you strafe you can get out of it, but I recommend rolling. I don't know why I didn't roll just then, that was dangerous. Being able to distinguish between the chest blast and his aerial barrage is really important because it's going to keep you alive. And he's generally going to come for you, but your team can piss him off. When you're at a great distance like this, he will fire his buddies. You can shoot his buddies out of the sky, which is a nice touch. And your team will do that as well, but you cannot rely on your team to save you because the one time you need them to, they won't. And what I'm going to do, I believe here, is I'm going to show you a nice cheeky spot if you don't want to fight this guy legitimately. So directly behind me is where this guy came from, which is a room. And rooms have roofs. So, feasibly, you can back into the spawn point, stand up against the left-hand side of the wall, and he shouldn't be able to hit you with any of this shit. You can just shoot him for free. Of course, he might come inside the room, which becomes quite dangerous, but hopefully he won't. And this is really risky right there. If any of those had gone for me, there was no way I would have dodged them, because unfortunately they track too well. But I wanted to do this in a more conventional manner, so I'm just going to do all the damage I can to him when he opens up, and I'm going to dodge his hits. Another hit that was really close to killing me. But it goes to show, doesn't it, when it comes to the hit detection on the incendiary, it's fairer than you would think. It's bullshit at times, but it's also fairer than it needed to be. In this fight, I found it saving me more time than it hurt me, which means that it's definitely on your side. So hopefully you can get some fortune and try not to get instantly killed by that kind of shit, because it really does strip you quickly. I was hoping too, by giving one of my NPCs an overkill, that they would do some good damage here, get really close and pump him full of shells, but it just didn't seem to be the strategy they wanted to do. So instead, I'm definitely going to be playing the long haul here. Oh, interesting. Is that the room he came from? Can you not put yourself in the side wall of that? I don't think you can. That might not be a good strat, that, so maybe you have to do it how I'm doing it. I thought you could get in that room and maybe use a corner, because it's how I'm going to kill some later carriers and it works really well, so it's always really a good idea to check where they come from, because if you can do that, you can mitigate the threat of these coming from above. And that is literally why this is hard, not a word. This is hard, because if he rains that shit on you, you're dead. And if you sit in cover like our buddy's doing there, you're dead. Because it happens every time. But once he gets this close, you always want to kite him a little bit and then just run, because if he does hit the ground, it has a decent range, but it's not ridiculous. So you should be okay. But there's a couple grenades up here, which I saved for later. There's a couple of refills on the ammo, so pepper him with some damage. Oh, and he's dead. Awesome. But you see, here's a pretty long fight, all considered. It could be much quicker if you hit him with nothing but explosives, but for the most, that's kind of the average carrier fight. It's not the hardest thing, you just have to get fortunate with a lot of the splash, because if you get a bad splash, you're going to go blind.